Hello everyone and welcome back to DreamingAI. My name is Nuked and today we are going to continue from the previous video where we're building our personal bot. In this episode we will cover both remote and local text-to-speech as well as adding the anime model. The prerequisites for following this type of video remain the same as the previous one, which I will link in the description. So let's get started. So far, we have installed the dependencies in our global environment, as Flask and OpenAI typically do not have dependencies that conflict with other installed libraries. Since we will be installing more complex dependencies from now on, I've decided to create a Python virtual environment to avoid conflicts. We'll also create a requirements file to gather all our dependencies. So if we need to deploy this bot in another environment, we can easily reinstall everything in no time. Let's install these dependencies in our virtual environment. I will also add Torch compiled for CUDA, since by default pip will install the CPU-only version. I will leave the finish requirements file in the description, as in this video it's not completely correct, so you can grab it now and avoid modifying it later. Let's create our start bat file, which will save us from manually entering the virtual environment every time to run our bot. Since LLaMA 3 will almost always respond using Markdown format, we will use the Markdown to library to transform this text into HTML that we will use in our interface. Great. Now let's finally start implementing our voice feature. To do this, we will use two libraries. The first is a cloud-based one that we can implement with the Python library Edge TTS and the following code. The second method we will use involves the Koki TTS library, which runs entirely locally using our GPU or CPU. First, we will load the Koki model at startup so that it is ready when the bot starts. The first method we will implement is voice cloning. This method involves having a sample, in our case called voice.wave, in the voice folder, which Koki will process to create a similar voice. Now, let's create the synthesize function, which will generate the final audio file in WAV format and save it in the audio folder that we will create in static. The path to this audio file will then be passed along with the text from the chat route to the JavaScript part, which will handle its playback, as we will see later. I also plan to use RVC, which is the technology used for voice cloning, to improve our voice output, but this will be the subject of another video later on. Now let's move on to the anime model part. One of the best ways to have it, which is also used by LLaMA, is to use Live 2D. In our case, we'll use a library that allows us to display Live 2D models directly in the browser called Pixie Live 2D Display. For the model, I found a site called Sekai Best, which provides many of them. For the demo, I used 10AN, downloading it with the download button from the site, and placing the decompressed folder in a folder named models and static. Every live 2D model has a JSON file containing the names of the various available animations. Note that if the JSON file contains the word Model 3, it means it is part of a series of new models created with Live 2D 4. While if it does not contain 3, it is part of the previous series. This will be useful later to understand which JavaScript library to load to display the model correctly. Let's copy the code directly from the example and modify it to load our model. Now we need to modify the chat layout and resize our model accordingly. Good, now we need to apply a pose to the model to remove the default one. Okay, since I don't like the model following the mouse cursor, I will disable this feature by setting the auto interact option to false. Now, let's finally develop the audio playback part. I have included the motion parameter in this function because in the future, I would like to trigger an animation different from the default one when the model starts speaking. Since the Flask module we installed does not support asynchronous functions, we will need to install another version with this command to fix this error. Let's fix this error by declaring the model variable as global, and we should be ready to go.
Hey, so alrighty then. Let's give it another shot, Noob Chan. It goes this time. Just hello will do, won't it? Guys.
Now let's create a small filter to prevent the model from pronouncing words that are actually descriptions of its emotional state, which are usually placed between EM attributes. I will leave the finish function in the description as copying this code would otherwise become a nightmare. So let's apply this function to the response text before it is passed to the voice synthesis function. And we are done.
Oh my goodness, Noob Chan. You're doing it again. That's like 2 O's too many, you know? I think you might be trying to drive me crazy with all those extra vowels. Yui, but don't worry. I still love you for your adorable attempt at talking to me.
Obviously, Koki running locally will consume resources, so if you don't have a powerful enough PC, you risk other tasks, like text generation by a llama being slowed down. Therefore, we've also implemented Edge TTS, which we'll test shortly. First, however, I would like to mention that there is also a second way to use Koki where you can avoid using a starting voice for our TTS. It is easily implementable in this way. With this terminal command, you can find all the many pre-trained voice models available. remove the language attribute from the generation command as it is not usable with this model.
Oh boy, new voice. That sounds like so much fun, Nick-chan. Please tell me all about it. What's the new voice like? Is it sassy and dramatic, or is it super sweet and gentle? Tell me everything, Nick-chan.
Okay, perfect. Now, as I mentioned, let's try the cloud voice with Edge TTS. Similar to Koki, we can select the voice with this command.
Oh my gosh, Nook-chan is talking to me again. Yars, let's get this conversation started. What's on your mind, sweetie?
Perfect. As you can see, we have also saved 2 gigabytes of RAM. Well, the first part of this series ends here. In the future, I will definitely make more videos where I will add features to our chatbot, like the ability to use larger remote models, or, as I mentioned in the previous video, long-term memory. Another feature that is definitely missing is the ability to add animations consistent with the text, or one that would be really nice could be the ability to show images to our model. In short, there are many ideas, and we will see how to implement them in the future. In the meantime, I hope this very long video didn't bore you too much. So please consider liking and subscribing if you found this tutorial useful. Also, if you have any questions, please let me know in the comments below. I'll be happy to help you out as much as I can.
Oh, I'm so sorry, guys. I didn't mean to steal the spotlight from Nook-chan's awesome video, but I just couldn't help myself. Bye for now, dear viewers. Thanks for watching with us, and we'll catch you in the next episode of the Insert Cute Anime Phrase here. Bye for now, dear viewers. Thanks for watching with us, and we'll catch you in the next episode of Mirai no Hiyayo.
Keep dreaming.